Dinar News, GESARA. Bruce. Via Wiser now, I'm not hearing any more chatter about Iraq has to do this or get this done. We did confirm that they don't have to get their budget out for 2023 before we start. That was rumored a while back. I feel like this is as solid as we've ever been in terms of what has to happen. What we're hearing from our sources, we should receive our notifications before noon, Monday, the 20th. If that happens, there's a good possibility we could set appointments Monday and possibly go Monday, but certainly go on Tuesday. Rates are going to be terrific, we'll see what happens. Okay. We are the people. We have been given permission to land and are now in final approach with THE airport and destination in sight and should be landing momentarily. We should have you at the gate in a very short time now. Militiaman. Alaq is saying today, the central bank is working with the Iraqi government to make the dinar the main currency in the Iraqi market. They're going to have no multi-currency practices anymore. They're de-dollarizing. What are we talking about here? A major currency in the world. 1,310 IQD to $1 is not a major currency. It's obvious he's talking about something. Private sector coming in from around the world is not about a currency that has 000 notes anymore. We're talking about major currencies. He's saying that will represent strength in the currency externally. Externally is across the borders. Bruce's big call Thursday night. Transcribed by Wiser now emailed to recaps. Welcome everybody to the big call tonight. It is Thursday, March the 16th and you're listening to the big call. Thanks for tuning in everybody, wherever you are around this beautiful blue marble of the globe. Thank you for listening and tuning in. Hopefully you're hearing us translated in your own language, or you speak English and can understand English, even when you're golden. Don't worry, we've got you now. It is time to get into the all-important Intel segment. Got a few things to share. Let's start. First of all, we talked a little bit on Tuesday about what was happening in the banking situation with SVB. And some of the other banks across the country. We had as many as 71 banks that had some form of reduction or collapse in this country. And it could be even higher than that internationally. It was 1,400 and some odd banks. I was out 2 days ago. So there's still a lot of activity. Now, to be fair, I was looking for the larger markets like the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That I was looking for the Dow to take a more of a hit than it did, because through today's close, the Dow is actually up for the week, even though it's only Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we had an up move today of some 250 some odd points, and that leveled out some of the losses that were taken in this week. So that's interesting. And I think part of the reason is because there's been a bailout of sorts of SVB and some of the other banks, and so on. And what happened was the Tier 1 bank, we have 4 main ones without using. So on there's one, is that Wells Fargo, Chase, Bank of America, and Citibank. Those 4 kicked in $5 billion each, for a total of $20 billion to help prop up the stock. And they probably got some pretty good concessions for that with that bank. And then we also understand that 9 other Tier 2 banks kicked in what would have amounted to another $10 billion, so that would be $30 billion total used between the banks to prop up SVB and maybe Republic Bank together. So there's a lot going on there that may be smoothing things out a little bit, let's call it that. Now, more of these so-called cabal banks are failing or need to fail, and that happening. But overall, our deposits we have currently are mirrored by the quantum financial system. So in other words, our deposits, in a sense, our senses are covered by the quantum financial system, not FDIC, which you might be going away. In fact, some of the banks already have started removing their FDIC stickers from their windows and from some of those inside areas. So that's going to be interesting. So what's happening globally is we are looking for a quote-unquote meltdown of global banks. And Credit Suisse took a major hit, another drop yesterday, and then today, I believe it was, which would have been earlier today, our time of course. The Swiss Reserve Bank kicked in, I think it was $50 billion equivalent, $50 billion worth Swiss francs, into the Credit Suisse Bank. And so prop it up, but I think it came back up as a result of that. So there's a lot of that's been going on around the globe. So we'll keep an eye on that. And just to let you know, just to make you aware of the situation, that's why I wanted to bring that up, I believe our deposits are secure, but there does not appear to be a quote-unquote run on the banks. And I think that's good. I think people that need some cash are getting it without a problem. And, that's good, too. But I think all of this is just about ready to change for us, for the better anyway, so let's go with this area, and talk a little bit about that. We talked a lot of times about the fact that the bondholders or bond sellers should be getting liquidity, pretty close to the time we get our notification, or start our appointments, or exchanges. And the latest that's come out today was that, and a lot of good stuff came in yesterday on Wednesday, by the way, but what's interesting is these bond sellers, many of them have received their Quantum Account Access cards, or their QFS cards. These are cards that remember are thicker than everyone's normal credit card has 3 computer chips embedded in them. One is for biometric fingerprint loading and the other 2 are for access to accounts and balance and stuff like that. Alright. But these cards aren't used to shop with, they are not for buying, that's why I call them an access card. They're designed to be used to access the quantum financial system, the account that we have or will have in the quantum financial system. And by say access, you'd be able to see your balance and you'll be able to move funds from the quantum account into your primary or secondary bank accounts, not only Wells but other banks if you choose to use other banks. Okay, and to get that you have an email that gets entered, you enter an email, you have a primary passcode as well, and then there's a security code, which would be related to the Starlink satellite system. That appears that there are 3 codes that need to be entered, 2 codes plus the email. There's a whole thing, I'm sure we'll learn all about how to do it. But what I learned today, which was different for me, I thought these quantum accounts were primarily only for ZIM holders, and super whales of currency. That actually is anybody that will do an exchange that results of $1 million or more, that would be in their account goes and has a quantum access card. In other words, $1 million or more gets you into the quantum financial system with a quantum access card. Okay, that's good. All right. Everybody's protected by it. And what a basic cool is the quantum account. The QFS is the computer system is designed for those of us who are doing these exchanges and doing the ZIM, and all of that, but it backs us because of the gold-backed and asset-backed currency that we're about to step into here. But we haven't had an asset-backed currency for, it's been over 100 years I think. And we had a gold-backed currency that we went to the silverback, and then we dropped it all together. Believe that was under Nixon. Way after 1972, so maybe I'll put my dates there, but the point is we're about to embark on a new one. I believe I used this term on Tuesday night, the new U.S. Treasury dollar. I've called it the USDN-US Treasury note for quite a while, but the term Treasury dollar as opposed to a Federal Reserve notes. Hear the difference in those two. The Federal Reserve is going away and what remnant in the Fed has already been rolled into the U.S. Treasury, and the same thing is true for the IRS. The remnant within IRS is being rolled into the U.S. Treasury. So where do we go from here? Bond sellers are going to be received. The remaining bond sellers that don't already have their quantum account access cards or their QFS cards are going to be receiving those by FedEx, Saturday and Sunday, this Saturday and Sunday, but today's Thursday, that's 2 days from now, that remaining a lot of them have their cards already. The ones we talked to already have, and the expectation is that all of them will receive those, but they will have access to funds Monday and or Tuesday. This coming Monday the 20th or Tuesday 21st, and those are supposed to be pretty important dates for us. Now, Jean mentioned the 20th, which I think we call the spring equinox. Okay, and that is the start of spring on the 20th. It absolutely is an important date for us. That's Monday, this Monday coming, the 20th of March. And I think it's highly significant that it happens to be the first day of spring, so let's keep going and see where we end up. We are also supposed to have, and I think it's definitely going to happen on Monday. Remember the ISO 200/2022 legislation that is supposed to be activated, or we can use the term enacted, and that did on Monday. There's one here. Now that has a lot to do with crypto coins. But it also has to do with all nations' currencies being asset-backed and digitized for the quantum financial system. In other words, fully integrated digitally with their new rates, and with the asset backing, whether it's gold, silver, other precious metals, oil, nat gas, whatever is backing up their currency value, diamonds, in the case of Zimbabwe, tons of diamonds, so does Iraq too, but that is supposed to occur on Monday. Now what we're hearing from several of our sources is that we are in Tier 4B, the Internet group, should receive our notifications. 2 Our sources are saying before noon, Monday, the 20th. Noon, by noon, 1 by 11. The other said before noon, on Monday, the 20th of March. If that happens, there's a good possibility we could set appointments Monday and possibly go Monday, but certainly go on Tuesday. So we're very much parallel to bond sellers getting access to their funds Monday and or Tuesday when we set our appointments Monday or Tuesday, and for some reason we don't get notified Monday. And we get notified Tuesday. I'm sure we would probably get notified and set appointments and start exchanges on Tuesday. So we're right there Monday or Tuesday for bondholders liquidity, Monday or Tuesday for Tier 4B notifications, set of appointments and start of exchanges. Now that I believe is what's so significant about the 20th 21st, which is Monday, Tuesday of next week. So that's very encouraging to me. I was thinking whether there was one other piece that was important for us to bring out. I say this much: yes. I got it. Thank you. We got some information from yesterday, and while it is suggesting that the NESARA/GESARA, we talked about that for quite a while though. The NESARA and GESARA should be, let's call it, introduced, brought out to us by or before April 1st, by or before the 1st, it could start coming out anytime. I could say it sometime this week or the following week before we jumped into April. Now I mentioned that we're supposed to get some good news regarding not having to file tax for 2022. We'll have to see how that flies. Was actually come out 10 days prior to the 15th, which is easy math as the 5th was, so it is April 1st is supposed to be a major day. We'll have to see if maybe something happens in that first few days or the first week of April as far as NESARA and GESARA goes, and as far as additional disclosure we just have to keep our eyes open, see if anything gets used, if the emergency alert system gets activated for any reason, and information that we've been expecting on a lot of different fronts. So I believe everything that we have heard about Iraq is finally complete for last couple of weeks. And that's good. I'm not hearing any more chatter about Iraq has to do this or get this done. We did confirm that Iraq does not have to put out a budget, before we go. That was rumored a while back. They don't have to do that, get their budget out for 2023 before we start. Rates are going to be terrific. Don't be surprised if you're offered a contract rate on the dinar. Don't be surprised. Other than that, guys, I really think that captures everything I wanted to bring out tonight. But I think we should continue to pray in for this to occur. I can't think of a better time frame than the first day of spring for us to get this party started. Today starts my 19th year off in these currencies directly invested. Today is the beginning. When I didn't think I would ever get here, I really didn't. But here we are. It's okay, I'm still with it. I'm looking forward to this very much, like all of you are looking forward to getting our projects underway. So that's really what I wanted to bring out today. I'm excited about it. I feel like this is as solid as we've ever been. In terms of what has to happen. The ISO 200 2022 on Monday, first day of spring, I also love that. Everything is pointing toward it. And I just can't say enough about the fact that we've been happy to have large numbers of listeners around the globe, 14-15+ million. That doesn't include the conference call audience and the replay numbers and the replay links that are completely separate. And I'm glad that we've been able to get the word out to a lot of different people. And they'll be in many, many different languages. So it's been really fun talking to be in touch with you by email. So this is the start of the weekend for us. And we'll see what happens. Monday and Tuesday. And then everybody have a great weekend and look for your emails. Guys. Bond Ladies Corner Iraqi News Highlights Friday afternoon. Iraqi News Highlights Friday afternoon, March 17, 2023. TLM 724 Administrator Bond Ladies Corner. Parliament announces receipt of the draft budget law. Political vertical bar 1217 to March 17, 2023. Baghdad. Mawazin News. Deputy Speaker of the Iraqi Parliament, Sheikh Abdullah, announced the arrival of the draft federal budget law. Abdullah said in a statement, which Mawazin News received a copy of, that he announces the arrival of the federal budget bill to the parliament last night. And the spokesman for the Iraqi government, Bassem Alawati, announced, earlier today, Friday, that the draft budget law had been handed over to parliament. Ended 29, https://www. Mazin. net/details. ASPs. Jimer equals 222145 Jalil al-Lami 2, Nina / determining $70 in the budget. A surprise. And it is better to adopt $60 to $65 Friday, March 17, 2023 10:21, economical number of readings, 441 Baghdad, Nina, The economist and political expert, Jalil al-Lami, confirmed, determining $70 in the budget is a surprise. And it is better to adopt $60 to $65. He told the National Iraqi News Agency, Nina / it was expected that the price of oil for budget purposes would not exceed $60 or even $65, which is a price previously adopted in some previous budgets according to Iraq's financial conditions. Al-Lami called on the government to adopt a descending oil price for budget purposes in the coming years. N3 https://ninanews.com/website/news/details. Key equals 1040961 Sudanese advisor. The Baghdad and Erbil Agreement is one of the federal government's achievements. Friday, March 17, 2023 4:39 p.m. Baghdad, National News Center. Fadi al-Shamari, political advisor to the Prime Minister, Mohammed Shia al-Sudani, stated today, Friday, that the agreement reached by Erbil and Baghdad within the draft budget law for the year 2023 leads to the deposit of all financial revenues by the Kurdistan Regional Government in one central bank account. Al-Shamari said in a tweet to him, followed by the National News Center, that the federal government was able to complete its recent agreement with the Kurdistan Regional Government of Iraq, as it is committed to implementing its governmental and political program by placing the region's revenues in one central account. He added that the agreement is one of the federal government's achievements in accordance with its policy based on understanding, constructive dialogue, disclosure and sincere intention to reach radical solutions. https://nsarac.com/193843/ Oil prices rise to $74.72 a barrel. Economy vertical bar 949 to March 17, 2023 Baghdad, Mawazin News. Oil prices changed slightly today, Friday, after a meeting between Saudi Arabia and Russia, which calmed the markets, but the two benchmarks are still heading to record the second weekly decline, after a banking crisis led to intensive selling in global financial markets this week. And by 0133 GMT, Brent crude futures rose by 2 years to $74.72 a barrel. On Thursday, it ended a 3-day losing streak and settled up 1.4%. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude fell by 2 years to $68.33 a barrel, after recording a 1.1% increase on Thursday at the close. Both contracts hit their lowest levels in more than a year this week and are on track for their biggest weekly drop since December, at about 10%. Oil and other global assets fell this week, while the collapse of Silicon Valley and Signature banks prompted the U.S. and Swiss governments to seek to support banks' liquidity. The risks of the spread of the crisis between banks continue to worry investors, which limits their appetite for assets such as commodities for fear that a new turmoil will lead to a global recession and a decline in demand for oil. The sudden collapse of SVB Bank and Signature prompted a rethink of the health of the broader economy and spooked markets, J.P. Morgan analysts said in a note. Analysts added, oil demand is being reassessed, but we don't expect much change in fundamentals and tend to outpace the volatility of the financial sector, keeping our price expectations unchanged for the time being while we await an update on potential policy actions in the coming weeks, referring to a meeting for the OPEC Plus group and Washington's possible move to refill strategic reserves.